All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Run Your Mouth podcast. We're back in the shed, and we've got a large cast and crew of characters, so I'm going to introduce everybody, and then we're going to get I'm excited. This is the pre-Thanksgiving party episode. So first we got the Shedcast boys. Say what's up.
Yo, what's going on, yo? It's Mike Nice. You can see me on Instagram, Mike Nice CT.
Yo, Shed Tech 8 on Instagram, Shed Gang.
There we go. Still out of jail, which we're going to get into in a second. Sid
Floyd, also living large.
And then we've got Joseph Roberts, who lost to Sid recently.
That's true.
No longer the Smoke Out Bug Out champion, but
That's
you know,
true.
we can still be cordial tonight. I don't
We're
think
sitting next to each other, right?
Yep, we're here. We're friends. That's cool.
I see them getting along. They're just training for the next one. And then last we've got
I'm at Bong Rips the Book. Everyone else got their Instagram out. It's a real picture-heavy podcast.
There you go.
Exactly.
All right.
Shit, the headphones came off.
No, you know why? I
I
realized.
already fucked up.
No.
Oh, shit.
I'm hearing myself in the headphones and not you guys. It makes no sense. It's like being on more drugs than I'm actually on.
Why do you guys all sound just like me?
And then we've got our financial wizard, straight from Wall Street, works at the hedge funds. He's got the inside scoop. He's going to tell us what to short, what to long, but he can't tell us his name because they got regulators out there. They're policing the podcast world. They'll pull you down. They'll take your license. They don't want you letting us know what's going on. So what name were you going by for the...
Scarfunkel? I think is what we decided on.
Yeah.
Scarfunkel.
Scarfunkel.
It's like a Jewish Scarface. I get it. It makes sense. Now, I gotta say, I was very excited to come back to the shed, and I'm having a great time, but this looks more shed than studio now. It looks like whoever's shed you took over said, "Get the fuck out of my shed. I need to continue storing my shit out here."
Mike's dad.
Yeah, we can phase out the song. What's going on in here? It's taking a turn for the worse.
Well, actually, we spruced it up for when you guys came.
we thought we did.
So we made it look real good when you guys
I got
came.
the camp inspection day of the
Yeah,
shed.
you did.
That's like the first time you have sex with the chick and she shaves and really makes it special, and then by the second time she's like
There you
comfortable
go.
and she's like, "All right, we can be the real shed."
That's right, exactly. Now you're here.
So where was all of the shed stuff stashed when I was here last? Because I thought you guys were running like a real studio in here.
We had it behind. We had it behind. But it was summer. It was summer, so for most of the summer, it stayed out.
And you guys fed me enough drugs that I just didn't
we
notice
did.
it every time I went to pee.
I guess so.
All right, that's
Yeah,
cool.
that might be
You're
it.
just out there pissing on your tools.
That's what that smell is in here. All right, and now our financial wizard guest, Scar, what was it? Scarfunk. It's gonna take me a while. I'm sorry. This was great. So I mean, this is our
You're
big
thinking of Starfunkel.
this is our big blowout party episode. And I met him in the parking lot. And there's no parking lot. I met him in the driveway, and I'm pulling in the beers, and I was like, "Dude, we're having a fucking party tonight. There's no judgment here. Whatever fucking chemicals you want to ingest, you enjoy yourself. Mushrooms, pot, fucking acid. I don't know what's in
He was
Joseph
very gracious.
Roberts.
For the record.
Yeah, I was very welcoming, and then we got into the shed, and it turns out he's sober.
He's smoking a backwood with
That was the best part. We were,
Oh, sorry.
Things are going down. Things are going
the
down.
shed comes alive. Was that the mushrooms, or did something actually?
No,
That was the broom.
Oh, that was the broom.
Yeah.
All
We're
right.
over capacity.
Also a new addition.
But I like
Over
that.
capacity.
Now we're
We're at
Fire
capacity. There you
marshal,
go.
they said.
I like that with all the partying we're doing, we were all concerned about the fact that he was going to smoke a Blackwoods.
No, I'm just happy to be invited. I'll be honest. You guys said you were going to party, and I was like, sounds great, man. I'm in.
Because you're a married man. You're living like real world life.
Oh, it's so domestic. It's crazy. We don't even have hard liquor in my house. It's like we have a bottle of wine that my wife has been nursing for 6 months. So
Does that drive you nuts? Like, how is that still here? That would have been gone in one night. What are you doing?
If it was me,
That's not the way wine's supposed to be enjoyed.
No, wine's supposed to be enjoyed out of a box in the morning after a night of real drinking.
I was going to say, you named your kid Wine.
I gotta ask you about, because I saw this. I've only seen this twice. I wonder how you guys handle it. Wow, this is gonna be a bummer topic to start off, but fuck it. I want to talk about beating your kids. So no, I was on the train today, and there was like this lady just being real shitty to her kid. Kid just needed to use the bathroom, and he's just being like a fucking 2-year-old, and she's like grabbing his arm in a way that clearly kind of hurts, and she's like quipping like an asshole. I'm not taking you to the bathroom. You'll wait till the next stop. Have you guys have you guys ever had that where you're like, you feel like you need to say something because the person's being such a piece of shit, and like stand up for the kid, but then you're too much of a pussy to do it because you're on a train and no one else is saying anything. And then
It's also like, that's not my kid.
that's the other thing where I feel like, hey, that's not my kid. It's not my place to say anything.
I think that's
I
the
don't think
biggest
that's
thing.
I don't think
is
that's being
that's
a
not your
pussy.
kid.
That's not being a pussy. It's like you don't want to intervene on someone else's parenting.
because that's their. It's like kids are property.
That's, really
That's
personal,
your.
too. That's for
Well-
you to step in and tell them anything is like
Unless he's
stepping
like-
out.
As a parent, I go to them for advice. If I see someone mistreating their kid, I go, does that work? Like, what?
I tell you, my mom used to beat me in public.
Really?
Yeah. So
Did
every
anyone ever come to your support?
Listen, I got the whole story. So every now and then, the police would come to my door, or our door.
Right.
And yeah, she beat the hell out of me after that. Like I called the police, you know. So I just leave them alone. You know what I mean?
Your mom was like, some people have live, life, love. And
Oh,
your mom has snitches get stitches up on the wall.
Yeah, yeah.
And the welcome mat.
The fucking cop showed up. That just reminded how pissed off she was. She's like, "Oh yeah, I gotta keep beating his ass."
Just to let him know. Don't be calling the cops on me.
Calling the cops on
The
me.
fuck's your problem, Joe Roberts?
Yeah. See, I hate Joe Roberts.
That damn Joe Bob getting beat again. Bringing cops around.
That's back when I was Joey Roberts.
Oh, the
How many?
wild man.
How many differents of Joe
why you
have you
dropped
tried
him
out?
I mean, there are only a couple. You know, there's Joe, J, and Joe, J.O.
JR.
JR.
JR's not bad.
JR's not bad with the cowboy hat.
Yeah.
Oh.
Jose?
Yeah. I go by Jose sometimes. I'm south of the border.
Jose Roberto.
Jose Roberto.
That's a good one for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I do when I'm a telemarketer.
your father.
Hey, this is Jose Roberto. I want to tell you about the insurance. This is my new thing when you get like that automated call, because I've noticed this is the new move. You get an automated call, it'll be like, hey, this is Michael, I'm here. And if you stay on the phone for about 3 seconds, then it will connect it to the person who actually will try and sell you. So my new thing is when that person picks it up, I'll be like, hey, I really wanted to talk to Michael. And then they're like,
No, this is me, Michael.
no, they'll be like, oh, he's not available anymore. I was like, no, I really liked what he was putting down there. I wanted to buy. Like I was into Michael's thing about revamping my mortgage. All right, fuck
Michael's
it, I
got great energy.
guess. Yeah. Someone talk for a minute. I want to hit this blunt.
That's actually how I got started in finance, was cold calling robo mortgages.
Cold calling. I used to do cold calls to sell abs.
You already have a blunt. There you go.
Yeah, don't mix
So tell
them
us,
up.
what was the low or what were the drugs that you were getting balls deep into that you had to get sober?
So I did everything, but mostly I was a drunk, right? Like I was a
Okay.
drunk that liked to dabble in other drugs. I was talking a little bit before. Like I've smoked crack a handful of times, but I was never a crackhead. Where I'm from, all the coke is cut with meth, so you know you do that.
So it's
You-
dangerous. You might as well do the crack. It's the safer option.
Oh,
It's-
dude!
it
If you
is
guys
hel-
have
it's
never,
healthier.
if you've never done meth, do meth. Like it is great.
I've never done
It
meth.
is way more intense than anything you're gonna try. It hurts for like a second. It burns, but oh man, it's a wild ride.
Did you ever put meth in your butt?
No, wait, what? I was like, where is this going? No, I've never done anything like
You never
that.
boofed some meth?
I don't know if you can do it that way,
Here's the
but
best way to do
I got a
it.
friend I'm going to call after this. I'll tell you that much.
No.
Wait, is meth is actually a fun drug?
Yeah, man.
Everything
I
I've
think
heard
it
is
checks out.
I've heard the exact opposite.
I've heard that it's like
Not
just
fun.
yeah. It's just click your teeth and clean your apartment and be nervous about shit.
Oh, there's definitely some of that goes with it,
But it's fun at the time.
Yeah.
At the time, it makes all the sense in the world.
That's why people
Sounds
do it,
horrible.
man. It's good. It's a good time.
I mean, I've never done meth, but I've definitely had where I was on way too much Adderall and organizing paper clips made a lot of sense.
There's a safe drug
It's similar.
compound.
Yeah.
If you ever had like ecstasy back in the day, a lot of ecstasy was cut with meth.
Really?
Like,
I only did ecstasy once, and it wasn't that much fun. But that was because I was hanging out with this chick.
Because there wasn't enough meth in it.
Yeah. I was hanging out with this chick, and I thought we were totally having a threesome. And then, like, at 4 a.m,
Turns out he was just fucking his couch.
yeah. No, at 4 a.m, some other dude showed up and had sex with both of them, and I went home. So I was just like, fuck ecstasy. This drug sucks.
Worst day of my life.
I don't blame you, bro.
That's the last time okay. So, you know what? We started off and it took a depressing turn. We talked about beating your kids. We talked about having to get sober, which I'm sorry. So let's switch to an inspirational tale, which is the last time we were here. Techie was partying all night despite the fact that he had a court summons. He had to show up and you somehow got away with it. So Let our listeners know, how did you get away? Firstly, I don't remember what you got in trouble for. I'm pretty sure it was
Violation of
dealing drugs.
probation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Violation
so
of probation. Have you wrote that rap song yet? It's got a good rhyme already. It's built
I
in.
didn't think about
Been
that.
written.
It's been written.
It's been written.
VOP. But yeah, I had court the next day. I didn't go to sleep till maybe 4:30 in the morning.
If you could even call that sleep, you were like fucking sitting in this chair.
He doesn't remember
Sure.
that.
What time did we podcast till? Like about
we were talking to
4
your
or
mom
something.
outside.
Probably
4 in the morning.
Yeah, about 4, right?
Yeah.
And then you guys dipped because you guys
Because it was
tapped
four.
out.
Because it was 4 in the morning.
And I
That's why
also-
you guys left.
I also needed to take a shit all night and went right to the I-95 rest stop.
We watched the sunrise.
Really?
Yeah, we were out here watching
we were like watching the squirrels in the
Yeah.
tree and shit, talking to your mom about I don't
Yeah,
even
it was
know what.
fucking hilarious.
It felt like a real high school moment that, I mean, my parents' house is a mile or 2 miles up the road,
Yeah.
and I wanted to go back there to go to sleep so bad, but I was so fucked up, I was like, no, I gotta drive back to my place.
Like you were like too fucked up to go to your parents' house, but you were like, I should drive. Done. It's cool. I'll just drive
It
back.
made sense at the time.
I drove an hour home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, that kid who was hanging out with us drove home, too.
Really?
Hey, if there are any
Zach.
law officials listening, we were all clearly
Zach.
sober before. I don't want
Zach.
any more.
Zach
We just-
showed,
Tire.
Zach showed
Yeah.
up with a fucking half-drinking bottle of red wine. It
Yeah.
was just like ready to fucking go.
Yeah,
All right,
ready to
Techie,
go.
so you were telling us.
So I had court the next morning. Went to sleep at about 4:30 on a chair at the end of the shed. And I guess Mike Nice told his mom, just in case, that if I didn't wake up, come wake me up. And she did that, and I fell back asleep.
No.
Yeah, and I woke up at about 11. I was supposed to be at court probably 10 the latest.
They want you there at 9.
They want you there at 9, but that's bullshit. I don't show up at 9.
I'm just saying, that's when they want you there.
No, I show up to court when I want to show up to court.
I know how it runs.
If I'm going to jail, it's on my schedule,
So
okay?
basically, like, I had a public defender, so they do your thing last all the time because they want to get all the lawyers out of there first. But this time, I was up there. I was up at the top. So they called my name, and I wasn't there. And I guess my public defender, went, just ham. Was like, give him another chance. And they ordered a rearrest. But then I showed up at 11:30.
Just in time for the rearrest.
And they were like, they told me to just hang on. They're going to call my case back up. Did that. They were like, come back again with a bunch of paperwork for drug classes and whatnot. And
Our drug class is just a guy who's standing there. He's like, you know, you want to sell drugs? Just don't do that.
no, it's like
even funnier than that.
two
It's way better.
psychiatrists that don't get paid enough money with like
A group.
15 people who
that all look exactly like you.
no.
No.
No, not
It's,
at,
it's
not at
of every
Stanford.
single. It's
yeah,
so
it's
many
like
different
a
types of people.
rainbow of drug problems.
I had to go to those. All right, that's the end of that.
They call it
We've all been there.
intensive outpatient.
So it's group
Yes.
therapy?
it's group
Kinda.
drug
With
therapy.
worksheets?
Yeah, yeah, basically, yeah.
And so
It's
what
story
are
time.
what are some okay, well first is I just want to hear how you beat the court rap. So you didn't show up on time, and the public defender, because it was the first thing he had to do all day, he just had his cup of coffee, he was feeling the
It was a
vibe.
woman.
She was a lady.
How dare you.
She saw your cute face and she's like, I can't be sending this guy to prison. So she gets up there and she gives the speeches of speeches. Did you get the details from her afterwards about what her performance was?
He
about...
went. He got his court re-brought up that same day and actually did the thing, the trial.
But I want to
thing,
know what
right?
this epic speech was.
It was basically
Oh,
like
yeah.
look
Joseph
at all.
Roberts, you want to take a chance at this epic speech? Can we put on epic courtroom speech music?
No, I want to hear.
He's up on a drug charge and he doesn't show up on time, and she pleads to not just get a guilty charge and at least give him a second. Well, it's not even a second chance because you did a probie. What was that get out of jail free card you guys were telling me about the last time?
The AR.
Oh yeah.
You had already done AR. So
Yeah,
this
I'd
is
already
not.
used this.
So you've already used your get out of jail free card.
Yeah.
Then you show up to court late after violating probation, which means you got hit a second time.
They ordered a rearrest.
But they didn't rearrest him
But they
because he
didn't-
was there.
They
He
didn't
showed
go
up.
through on it though.
Because you were already at court.
Yeah, if I would have not shown up, they would have definitely.
Did you go, Your Honor, I'm only late because I was doing more drugs last night.
I was taking
I didn't
my
say
drug
anything.
class.
I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
I had the
You plead the
very smart.
Just dead
best,
silent. Like, sir, we
smart.
asked you a question.
No, because like they already know like what the whole case is and everything. It's just it's all full of.
You're like, you didn't need
recharge.
my input.
Yeah, no.
I don't even need to be here, Your
The
Honor.
best thing I did was not open my mouth.
Yeah, exactly. At
But,
this point, though, it is all for a weed charge. So
it's just a bunch of-
It's kind of stupid.
It's a bunch of continuances.
Okay.
So basically, you show up, they're like, "Oh, get this. We'll come back next month," and then you come back next month with that, and they're like, "Oh, maybe get this too."
What
And
is
then by the
this?
time
Like,
you're
what are-
done-
I don't know. So like, I had a drug charge, so it would be the IOPS, the intensive outpatient classes, the drug classes.
which
so I-
you've taken.
Oh yeah, I'll wait
right.
till he's done with his.
Yeah,
though.
so it's basically 3 days a week.
I want to
Mon-
hear. Let's go, Joseph Roberts. You can be the judge on this. I want to go. I want to go character for character. Pick the top 3 characters that were in class, and we'll go with whose class was better.
What?
Is this just between them or anyone who's been to IOP?
Are you guys have also been?
Yeah.
Fine. I'm changing the rules.
I got some shit.
Everyone can name 3. I want to know the best character that existed in any of these classes.
Isn't that a breach of
Confidentiality.
Yeah, dude. It's
I feel like
shit.
everything
I
we do
never
on this
thought about
podcast is
do what I did.
not-
Make up names. Make up clearly fake names.
Yeah, he's here.
Nah,
as-
I was.
Oh, I don't know any names.
The best guy there was Clanvis. He was like a
The one guy that I was with was a limo driver, and he was a meth head. I thought that was awesome. and I happened to run into him at the gas station once, and I avoided him. That's it. Yeah, he had his limo.
But that's got to be the. Can you imagine sitting in traffic on meth?
with
That
a
sounds
30-foot
terrible.
car.
had a gun under your seat. You know?
Probably,
Like,
right?
I fucking put snacks back there. Give me the fucking snacks.
And bugs under your skin, man. That's fucking.
That sounds like a nightmare.
Imagine calling a fuck for a limo and that guy shows up though, and you're like, oh, we know each other. Like,
Yeah.
do you have any coworkers you can send? I don't know about this. Like,
Nah, he gets you there the fastest, hands down.
Yeah.
I know
All right.
you rented me for 4 hours, but I'm gonna get you to your destination in 39
3.
minutes.
Techie, throw some characters at us.
All right, so I had some very eventful African Americans in my class.
What do you mean by eventful?
They didn't care about the class at all. So they would do,
audacity.
what they would. So what they would do would they would smoke weed.
Did they call the psychiatrist teach?
No, they would say miss,
What?
miss.
Miss?
They would never say her whole
fucking
name.
Oh, okay.
Is that? Okay.
And
This woman went to medical school and then residency. Like,
But she failed out that she ended up in
All right.
public.
Is it better
She
than
does
Doc?
IOP,
Is it
but
better than
alright.
Doc?
What?
Is it better than Doc?
I don't know.
Like,
Miss
listen,
just
Doc.
seems wrong.
Yeah, that's like out of a Bugs Bunny cartoon. Listen, Doc, I'm doing meth on my weekend.
So
Let's
they
wrap
would
this up. I got a limo to drive.
they didn't care about any of it. So
Right.
they would smoke weed beforehand in the parking lot, and during the break they would smoke weed, and they would just bring somebody else's clean piss.
That's dope.
Did you ever say to them,
That's always fun.
They had. I wish I could do it.
They did it
I thought
right.
I was gonna get caught, but they would tell me stories about how they would get their nephew, maybe 3-4 years old, to piss in a bottle, and they would bring
Yeah,
hand
but
warmers.
tell them how you be passing the piss test.
I told them I was gonna get my weed card for about a month, and then I got my weed card.
Yeah.
oh, and
So
then,
he never had to pass a test.
Oh, because once you have the weed card, you can legally.
Yeah, they were like, well, your insurance isn't going to cover it if you have it legally. So they dropped me. And that's also what got me off of the court shit.
Because for that duration of time, you had the weed card, and so technically you were able to legally smoke weed.
But you
Well,
lost
no,
your-
no, no,
as he was-
afterwards.
he
As I
already
was
in the
getting it,
classes,
yeah.
And then he got his weed card, and then
I was still going down, though.
Then
Like,
they're
I was
like,
going
well-
down in my levels, in my THC levels, and then I got down
But
to a
isn't
certain...
I would have thought weed is like, booze is legal, but you can get in trouble in a way where they monitor your booze
Yeah.
intake. They're not allowed to, so I would think like if you get in trouble for
You don't have a
something weed
prescription for
related.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's
Yeah.
that's what my lawyer told me originally, like a couple of years ago, was that if you go to anything like a probation officer or a therapist or anything, they can't say you can't do this drug because they're not doctors. You were legally prescribed that drug. So say a probation officer or a judge. I mean, I guess a judge could because
No,
nah. But
Maybe, I don't
if
know.
you comes
if
up
you're
in
prescribed
your test,
Xanax, and you could have benzols come up in your fucking.
So you just need a good psychiatrist. That's the
Yeah,
moral of the
Having
story.
nowadays.
Or a
Sleep
bad
her.
psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Right? That's
A bad thing.
I had a psychiatrist once who would just prescribe you anything. He was 87 years old. He was running like a Medicaid racket. He had 10-minute appointments. It got to the point where he was like so Alzheimer-y. Like if you stop caring about appointments, you would just show up when you needed your next script and like stand in the hallway. But one time, because I did that, I couldn't get a hold of the guy, so I just showed up, right? And there was this lady standing in the stairwell. Do you ever see that Simpsons episode where like they changed the flight route to over the house?
No.
No one saw that. Okay, fun episode. You should go watch it. There's a great scene when Homer Simpson just walks off the roof. He's trying to like hit the planes with a broom, and then there's also Lisa. She's like rocking back and forth, crying in the stairwell. There was a lady exactly like that. She was
Holy shit.
holding her legs up, shaking back and forth, and going. She's talking to me about how Connecticut's trying to take her guns away, but that she loves this doctor because you just show up and he'll give you the max amount of Xanax.
Jesus Christ.
And I was like, that psychiatrist at their best. Okay, so you were telling us about
Sounds like
so
Florida.
the best character in your class were these black dudes who showed up and they didn't give a shit. They're like, I'm doing
did not
drugs.
give a-
Fuck you, teach.
Yeah, I ain't never given my piss to a drug test. I passed about 5 drug tests. You just get some clean pee and a little like hand sanitizer bottle. You can put.
I thought they don't watch you pee.
I mean, like for a job or nothing. Like I ain't never been a.
They definitely do when you get in trouble, though.
When
What if you just got like a little dick, dude?
probation officers, they do.
Yeah, what if you can't pee
Will
when
they?
someone watching you?
Yeah, I just got like this.
They don't
tiny
give
ass
a
dick,
shit,
though.
bro.
They
You know how
will
many
stand
people
there and
try that
watch.
shit?
No, but what if it's true?
They will
Fucking look
milk
at
it
that
out
shit.
of you.
I'm like, yo.
They'll milk it.
Oh, that's
You
better.
milk it,
They'll
sir?
milk it out of you.
Yeah, what do you think this is? Do you think I should get that checked out?
No,
Oh.
you can have that. Shy bladder is called, I think. I think
Why
I heard
don't
that term. I think I heard that term. I
No,
don't
you
know.
can't be shy bladder at a fucking parole or
But-
probation office.
Why don't they
But
just
it's not
draw
up to you.
blood?
What?
Why don't they just do blood or hair?
Because it costs too much to test, and hair
Oh,
It goes way too far back too. If you're like testing hair, I think it
Yeah.
can go back years.
got you.
They
So
check the rings.
So they have to test. So they have to test piss.
isn't. Yeah.
So what do you do? Like you can even just tape like the bottle, I guess, to your dick or whatever.
Something like that.
Yeah.
You get a
You gotta have
Wizinator.
a thick one for that.
What? You mean
Thick
to?
dick to fucking tape it to your dick. I do it right to the leg with a little.
You tape it to the
hand
inside-
warmer
you
taped to it too.
So that it stays warm.
Honestly, the last I just got like cocky, and the last few I just put it right in my underwear. You know, because
They're probably not testing the temperature because they're probably taking the sample, throwing it in like wherever anyway, and,
Well-
it's losing temperature as you speak. You know,
That's
what
what
I
the
mean?
hand warmer's for.
Yeah,
I
but I'm
keep
saying
it
for
warm
when
enough.
you do it, but when they get it, they probably just put it in a cabinet and it sits there,
I
so
bet
then
they're
it
pasting
loses
it.
temperature anyway.
They gotta test it within 4 minutes. It checks off and says that it stayed the temperature between fucking 98 and
Really?
104 degrees
think in
Fahrenheit
4
for the
minutes
first.
they-
No,
That's what I
every
heard.
time there's a marker. So like when I took a test for like my last job, you get like this little. It looks like a vial of Coke, and fucking you. It's like obviously one where they're not watching you. It only works, and it happened to work for me. But like you like pour this shit into like a solution that's like synthetic urine, and you pour this fucking powder in, and it heats it up to
Hey, more mushrooms.
absolutely.
Thank you.
You don't gotta ask me; they're not mine. But yeah. So like you gotta, it's like a heat catalyst, and and like if you put in too much, it'll be like 150 degrees, and they'll be like, "Yo, you need to go to the emergency room."
Really?
Yeah, we're like, but if you
crazy.
don't do it right, then it might not be hot enough. So you gotta add the correct amount.
All right, I'm gonna steer this back. So your character, we're gonna do. Everyone names one character.
Oh.
We're gonna compete them. I already
Oh,
forgot. Who was
one
your
of 'em
character
now?
again?
The limo.
The
driver.
limo
Limo
driver.
driver. All right, you had black dudes who didn't give a shit, showed up smoking weed. What do you got for us, Sid?
Oh man.
You had your prep
Yo.
time.
Yeah, I know. Well, I thought it was 3. So now I got to pick between the All right, there was this one dude who was
What color was he?
white. He was he was a dope head, and he like was talking like real positive. You know how it. I don't want to say they get, but like for the first couple of weeks, they're all like, "Yo, man, life is great." You know. It's like so he was like that, and then this one day he showed up with a fucking pit bull.
To the class?
Dude, and no one like
And he's
wanted
like,
to.
tell me I can't do drugs.
Dude, yo, he's like no one really like was saying anything to him because he was such a nice guy, and he's just sitting in there with a huge dog next to him, and everyone's like, "Yo, what the fuck?" And then someone was like, "Yo, you gotta like take that dog." And he was like, "Why, man? She's doing fine." And then they were like, "Well, like
She's got a
you
problem
can't bring
too."
your dog in here." He goes, "I found her on the way in," and I was like,
They should have respected that. That's what they're all about.
He was just trying to rescue a dog. He was having some empathy.
So the one chick kind of did, and then like when this dude, the fucking head dude Barry came in, he was like, "Nah, the dog's gotta go," and fucking
Barry was not having.
dude, and so he put the dog in the car, and then like every few minutes he kept like leaving class to go out and like check
Check
the
on the
car.
dog.
And like, yo, so then we were like, yo, it's like if he was getting high, that would be how you did it. Next week he shows up fucking dead, like nodded out in
He was
class.
doing good
He showed
until
up
they
to
took
class
that
still,
dog
though,
away
which is,
from him.
so they made the dog not take a drug class with him.
I like that his excuse though, like when they were like, "You can't bring your dog."
Yeah,
Like he was
God.
like, "It's not the dog's not the issue. It's that it's my dog."
Yeah.
It's like it's not my dog. It's fine. I can
Found
bring it.
it.
Joseph, have you had to take any of these rehabilitative classes?
Nah, man. I don't
There you go.
Fucking take acid, walk around.
So we come back
and
to
knock
you.
on wood.
Yeah,
That's
so mine was as
Scar
part of
sneeze.
mine was part of a juvenile deferment program. So I was in it with all kids under 18.
How old were you?
I don't know, 15, 16.
Oh, so your
something like that.
drug
okay.
usage goes way back.
Oh yeah, I started using when I was 12.
Dude, I thought you were like doing this on Wall Street, and then you took a fucking class
Yeah.
with a bunch of 15-year-old kids, like Billy Madison.
What was going on at 12 then? Like, because I mean, I did a lot of, I smoked and drank a lot in high school, but I didn't start, I guess, until junior year. So what's that, like 16? And it's funny, I still look down at the 12-year-olds like, what the fuck's wrong with you?
I was drinking when I was 12 though.
Yeah. So I started when I was 12. I mean, I was young for my grade. Plus, I got bumped up a couple grades. So in 12, I was in 8th grade. So they're 9th grade, something like that. And we were going to the high school for sports stuff. And I got hooked up with some bad high school kids. And then I became the bad high school kid.
Because you were just trying to be cool.
I was just trying to fit in. Well,
Yeah.
basically what I'm doing tonight. This is exactly how I got. So it's like, oh, you guys are partying. I guess I'm cool with that. Can I
Well,
just hang
we're
out
the
with you
bad
around
high
the
school
table?
So give the guy some drugs. He said he wants to be cool.
But mine, I was the lamest fucking kid
Dude,
in that
he's
class.
12.
So there's like 30. There was 30 kids. Yeah, what if I was 12 right now? That's like the big twist at the end. It's like, all right, thanks for coming in. Have
This was the
fun.
beginning of the drug journey.
Yeah.
Some
Chris
sort of
Hansen
a weird
shows up.
fucking loop.
That's why I won't do any drugs.
I was the lamest kid in that class, right? Because everyone's going around. It's all like, minor possession or fucking underage drinking. And it gets to me, and I was in the class for illegally dumping my beer cans in my neighbor's garbage can. So, there's like 30 kids in a row.
That's a real thing?
That's a real fucking thing that you can get. So everybody went around and I'm here for possession.
Your
minor
neighbor ratted
drinking,
you out?
Minor drinking. Yeah, my neighbor ratted me out. I was a fucking teenager dumping beer cans in
Yeah,
How many beer cans
you
were
wouldn't
you
dump it
dumping
in
in
your
there?
own garbage can.
It sounded like if you took a shit in his garbage can, that would be something that like maybe you could.
I always
fucking-
wanted to do, I mean, this doesn't exist anymore, but remember coffee table books?
Yeah.
I wanted to do a coffee table book of me taking a dump by no dumping signs.
That's
Huh.
dope. But you should make that just a toilet book, 'cause those
calendar.
are still a thing.
Yeah, toilet
That's
books
a-
are still
I got
a
a
thing.
quote. I got a whole memo pad of quotes for my toilet book.
Yeah?
Yo, it could be
And
under
one of the
pictures of
quotes-
him
Can-
taking dumps.
One of the quotes is my tattoo artist telling me, "You could do anything you want. You could make a toilet book."
I will tell you that every Wall Street firm like lobby has one of those one or two of those coffee table books in it. So don't listen,
Dude, I've done
You
my
should
art.
go for it.
my art.
Yeah.
man.
Art.
I've got the connects. If you want to make a coffee table book, I will introduce you to
The
HR
coffee
or
table
something.
book.
Yeah.
It's more promising than anything that's happened in my comedy career yet, so...
Is that just like meeting guys in the bathrooms at Wall Street offices? No, you got to meet this guy. He reads this book every day.
All right, so who do you got for us in terms of weird characters from...
It was all just fucking kids, man. Like,
okay.
so there wasn't anybody, there was no like methed out limo drivers or anything. It was
was
kids who
all
were
a
like,
dream.
I was smoking weed because I'm 16, so it's not really a problem. I just want to get the fuck out of this class.
All right, so just to totally change topics here, because that's what we do. We throw something out, we talk about it for a little while, and then we go, fuck that topic. You're rocking the sweatpants. What changed in the last 3 years that sweatpants are like fucking trendy now? They have expensive sweatpants. People just wear, like, how do you feel? I don't even wear sweatpants at home. I feel like I'm a bum if I'm at home wearing sweatpants. You know what's good about pants? I'm just going to say it. You know when you get too I had to open up my pants today. I had to show up here. I had to sit down in my chair and go, if I'm doing mushrooms, I have to unloose this button because I'm not going to sit here on mushrooms with my fat just squeezing against my button. And that lets me know, hey, buddy, you got to go on a fucking diet. This is getting out of control. You don't even fit in your own fucking pants. Lose some weight, you fucking fatty. But that never happens with sweatpants. You're wearing sweatpants. You can just go forever. Like, you know how much stretch those things... Like, sweatpants... I mean, Seinfeld covered it a million years ago with that episode. It's just the ultimate in giving up. But it's like a cultural loop now where people are just out there wearing their sweatpants. They're wearing fancy sweatpants. What the fuck happened?
It's fancy sweatpants.
It feels good, dude. You hate comfort.
Is that way? It's like some weird Puritan Catholic thing that I have in me that like I'm like you're not supposed to be that comfortable.
Right, I'm wearing I'm wearing big girl Uggs right now because I just like the way they feel. You know what I mean? I'm all about decadence.
I don't like those at all. I know I'm the new guy. I'm just gonna come out and say it, man. Those are not cool.
They feel great.
And I like your oh no, you got the matching Uggs. I was gonna say
They're
wife
matching.
was
They match.
rocking manly ass boots.
Hell yeah.
Or he's rocking girly ass
she
boots.
was
Like let's
Yeah.
call,
rocking
Yeah,
Tim's.
dude.
call a spade a spade. You
I
are
love-
wearing girl shoes.
Yeah, dude. I'm also wearing girl underwear. What's the
Now,
problem?
Harrington pointed out that part of what made sweatpants acceptable is that the same way women will rock some serious cleavage, you know, and attract some attention to themselves by going, hey, look at my big old boobies. Black dudes started rocking the gray sweatpants to be like, yo, check out my fucking dick. I might not have no money. I might not have money for nice pants.
I like that black guy voice.
But I got a nice turtle going on in my... So,
That little turtle head poking out.
yeah. But
I guarantee you no black guy's ever called it a turtle.
It's a tortoise.
as my white friends... So, you know, you guys are more in the know than I am. What's going on here?
It's
Well,
a ritual tap.
The thing is, how much do you think these cost?
Wait, your sweatpants?
Yeah.
Oh, those are garbage sweatpants. They're nothing.
How much do you think these ones cost?
You can get those at
$45.
Marshall's tomorrow. No.
$45.
What? Those are $45. That's more than my fucking jeans, dude.
Because these are the official champion ones, and that's why I'm just letting you know why they're cool. I'm not giving any excuse why I bought them. I'm letting you know why they're cool.
Okay.
Because
That's what I'm here for.
Because
the
they have the
education.
reinforced waistband.
Okay.
They have the
and he could tuck them into his shoes.
Those look like a homeless person wore
original
them
ones-
before
Well,
you.
these are old. Wait, these are years old. They last. So it's got
They're durable.
the good ankle support where it's tight on the ankle,
You can go
and
hiking
it's
in
got
these
the back
sweatpants.
pocket, and it has a back pocket.
That's cool.
It's got a wallet
I'm just letting you know why.
So you can
No,
put your
you got-
wallet
If
in
you get
there.
the cheaper ones with the champion sign where there's no red in it, that's the cheaper version.
What?
No.
Wait. So if I go to Walmart and I buy Champion gear,
You ain't getting these at Walmart.
you're not getting
No, you're not getting these
they'll
at
come-
Walmart.
They'll come without the red.
Yeah, most likely.
That's the sign. For
Yeah, but
within-
those aren't like worse. They're just the cheaper version. It's like though it doesn't. It's like a less. It's a thinner material.
How nice do you have to actually dress nice at work?
Oh yeah,
champion.
absolutely.
Yeah. What the holdouts on still having to dress nice is basically doctors, sales professionals who are actually showing up to offices, Wall Street, and lawyers.
Yeah,
That's
so
basically,
I'm like business casual. If
Which-
I'm not
can I-
seeing clients, but if there's clients in my office, which is basically every day, it's full suits.
So here's business casual becomes the most annoying standard because if I gotta wear a suit, I get it. I gotta wear a fucking suit. I buy however many suits it is. I get my ties. I get it. Business casual like walks this other line where it's more of a bug out where you gotta buy like those nice shirts. Basically, you gotta tuck them into the pants. You gotta get like those Cole Haan Zero shoes.
I like that his
Yeah.
threshold is like fucking tuck your shirt in. So,
No, it gets a little more like it's like a little bit more of a gray area where I feel like it's a bug out.
I don't mind that look though. I kind of like that vibe. Roll the
blazer with-
sleeves up halfway, you know.
yeah,
blazer
roll the
with
sleeves up
jeans.
hat. That way you let
Yeah.
people know like
What?
I'm
A
working
blazer
really
with
hard,
jeans.
but I can
Yeah.
also do a chore if you need
Yeah.
me to.
Want me to change that
I
light
won't,
bulb?
but I could. You know.
You don't just you don't pull the sports jacket on the back of your like desk chair move, so you just always have a jacket if you need it.
No, because when you're wearing suits, everything matches. I have a jacket in my office in case I need it if something comes up. But no,
You have a trench
In
coat?
case something
I
comes
do
up.
have so.
Is it a matching trench coat?
I have one of those like boring big gray trench coats, but I also have one of those like Burberry fucking classic raincoats. And every time I wear it, people are like, "Yo, that's a dope trench coat," and I'm like, yeah, it is, but my secret is my father-in-law just gave it to me. Like I did not buy it. It's like a total hand-me-down. It only kind of fits. It's a good
He
deal.
wore
man.
it first?
Yeah, he wore it.
okay,
He was
that's
like
fine.
he was a C-suite executive, so he had all this shit, and I just stole it from him.
I feel like all trench coats are hand-me-downs for some reason.
Yeah, I got one.
Right?
I
Did
got
you
a
buy
real
it?
No, my dad gave it to me.
See, all trench coats end up as hand-me-downs.
It's got to be hard to find a store that
Because
sells
someone
trench
just
coats.
stops wearing that
you
style.
you put it on one day and it's like, this is pretty dope. And it
found
goes
a-
on from there.
Unless it's like an army trench coat.
That's even better, I guess.
That's intense. You can hide in the woods with it.
All right, you hide in plain sight.
Yeah.
I can't.
It's not a trench, but
You can hide in the woods.
Say,
in my
where'd you go?
trench coat.
yeah, I didn't see you there.
You're
for a
not gonna
second.
like be well hidden,
You
but
look like a
yeah,
bunch of garbage bags.
you can creep in
Gray.
it. You could creep in it.
Creep.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you the creepy thing that I've been doing. That I'm going by a
Smooth
fake name. I'm going to tell you like one
Meth
creepy
was
thing.
nothing.
I just scratch a lot, and so every morning as like kind of a stress reliever before work, I will walk to Central Park and I have some
Cop
bird.
some meth.
Just get fucking blasted off before the office. No, I bring my bird watching binoculars and I walk to Central Park and I do like just 10 minutes of creeping on birds every single morning.
I bird watch.
Oh, it's the best,
It's
man.
not creepy at all.
I don't know shit about birds though. So people will like ask
Oh,
me.
alright.
They'll
cool,
ask
so.
me. They'll be like, "What
Bird
do you?"
watching is the world's gayest hobby. I used to, as a joke in high school, I put a bird watching like guide of the world on my wall just to creep people out. Like,
I would
what the
love that.
fuck is wrong with you?
I have a book
like the
like that.
migration patterns of what birds show up in New York and what season. All right,
You were basically a bird watcher.
I bird watch.
You knew all the
I bet
patterns.
every person who's ever been into bird watching is just trying to repress their drug addiction.
Nah, man, there's a whole community. It's called eBird.
Okay,
It's like the Facebook for bird watching. And it's like a whole community of
you can
people.
meet the other pedophiles.
It's either
Have you been to
birds
the
or dope.
Audubon, the coastal
Oddly-
center up here?
Yeah.
Oh, it's dope.
Oddly enough, dude, there's a lot of people that are like kind of just ridiculously normal.
What's the bird you've seen where you're like, fuck yeah, I got to
Well-
see that bird?
Well, I'm a huge bald eagle fan. I go to the Eagle Observatory once or twice a year because my
I've seen
grandfather
a
used to
bald
take me
eagle's
there.
cool. Yeah.
But I saw one in the wild the other day. He lives on this lake, like right where I moved.
I like vultures
But,
a lot. I find
see 'em all the
vultures.
time.
Yeah, because you get turkey vultures
They
around
can
here.
dive at speeds of like fucking 45 miles
They're
an hour.
creepy as all hell.
Big time. But I think the coolest thing is a pileated woodpecker, because they're like, they're like Woody the Woodpecker. Like they
Right.
make like this crazy laughing noise, and you don't usually see them. Sort of like that. And but yo, they're like spot on.
That was my
Yeah,
best
yeah.
Woody the Woodpecker.
It
What
was
did Woody the
killer.
Woodpecker actually sound like? I did not hit that well.
No,
It was
you
like-
nailed
honest.
it.
Yeah, that was
I
pretty
definitely-
cool.
I definitely
That's
did not
pretty
get it
close.
well.
Pretty close.
Can you play
Yeah, I can bring it
YouTube
up.
of Woody the Woodpecker?
But-
also, I'm sorry,
No,
and then
you're
we'll go back to that. I emailed you over. I had a couple random YouTube videos I wanted to play, so if you could pull up a few of the timestamps, we're gonna get to that in a minute. But you're telling us about the best birds you've seen out there in the wild.
Well, pileated woodpecker is just cool because you don't see it a lot. But it's like an 18-inch tall woodpecker, so it's like it's like a hawk, but it's just massive. And when it sounds like someone's like doing roofing when they're like hitting a tree in the woods. It's like
Does it
someone's
eat
got a
bugs
nail gun.
still?
Yeah.
Wow.
What about you? What was a bird
put it
that
up?
like you'd be like, this is
What did you
exciting
put?
that I got to catch this bird?
I like any type
To catch it.
to catch a bird. Pokemon
I meant just to
style.
like
Yeah.
that you're like I got to see this bird.
I like any type of wading bird, right? So any type of like egret or heron.
Yeah.
I love it. But I'm actually not that good at bird watching though because I'm colorblind. So like, you know,
That's the best part about seeing birds. You can be like, oh, it's a bluebird. or,
look at that
it's a
beautiful
red
color
bird.
on
Or,
that bird. I'm
Oh my
like, I don't
God.
know about all that, man. It's but any type of wading bird, man, those are beautiful. Just the grace on those things, especially you see them like glide when they like drag their legs over the water as they're flying. Oh, it's
They got like the weird way that their legs just sit long and parallel, like behind. It's like
Yeah.
odd as shit.
my grandma's got a bird feeder outside of her window.
Yeah.
There's something nice about it. You can just stare out and there's
I love
Oh.
seeing a big fucking bird. We saw an owl one night while we were fucking tripping, driving around.
Owls are
That
freaky.
shit was crazy. It was like this fucking big off the table, and then it didn't. It was staying there until we saw it, and it like looked at us, saw us see it. It was like, I'm out. Man, it was shit. Yeah,
Did at least do the creepy head turn for you?
yeah. He turned his
do,
fucking head
right?
around and everything.
You realize how big it is once it starts flying,
It's
too.
crazy huge because we
Yeah.
drove. It was like on the sign, and we just drove right past it. I was like, holy shit. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
was crazy.
It is amazing how
Yeah.
big some birds are when you see them
And-
up close in Oh, it's amazing.
I seen
Hawks are
one that
massive.
got
That's him.
annihilated. It must, because it was like 30 feet off the road, but it must have got hit by a car. I think it was like this big, like kind of, I don't know, it was a
You sent
falcon.
me a snap, right?
Yeah,
You're like,
I'm
yo,
not-
Rob, identify this.
Yeah, I did, and I didn't know what, but it was huge, and the talons on it were like almost an inch long. It was, it looked, it was dead, but it was beautiful. I could tell, but it was, yeah, it was
Shit,
huge.
taxidermy that
Let's
shit.
hear original Woody.
Let's hear that.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Now he hits it. He does it 3 times before the.
Well, you ran out of breath.
No,
You
I thought.
smoking and
No, I
stuff.
thought he had the.
Yeah.
That's true. He wasn't. He wasn't smoking
Asthma.
cigarettes. while he
Short
was-
and sweet.
Smoking a Marlboro.
Short and sweet.
I got to double back and go. Actually, I want to say I saw an Oriole on a roof
In the
one time.
wild?
Oh,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
they didn't like.
It's not a ballpark.
They started showing up back up here, and I saw one in Norwalk. I was on a roof, and
That's
the sound
pretty
that they
rare.
make is like they sing, and it actually sounds like beautiful.
Do you see
That's
the
dope.
monk parrots? Do you ever watch?
Yeah, over here, dude. Those
they're out here.
motherfuckers, dude.
They're out
They're
here.
here.
They got nests out here.
My goal in life is
crazy.
to catch one of these fucking things and like keep it as a pet.
What is a monk parrot?
So they're these green parrot. It's a parrot.
Ring,
They're
ring.
Okay.
green. They're from South America. Nobody knows how they got to America, right? Like maybe they stowed away
No,
on
I
the
know.
banana
Well,
shipment.
this is the rumor that there was a truck that was going to pet stores. They were giving them to pet stores,
Oh,
and
they-
it crashed
they-
on 95.
No, they broke free, man. It was like a Toy Story
Mate,
movie.
yeah.
Before they were making those movies, they knew what
That's
they were doing.
right. And then, but they said that they would die over the winter because they never had to face cold weather before because they're South American.
Scientists are
parrots.
fucking stupid.
And then what they did was they fucking adapted, built nests, and kept warm, and they survived.
So we're talking like
That's a-
35 years later, like there's a natural breeding population of South American.
Nah, you don't want to.
Bright
You don't want
green
to trap
parrots.
those things. They want to be out there. They'll fuck up your shit.
It is pretty amazing though.
Yeah.
It's like not a lot of people know about that.
Well,
They're
now
a
it's a problem with like the
nuisance.
power
Yeah,
companies
it's a
because
nuisance.
they build their
Yeah.
nests in the transformers, and so
They're massive nests. Too.
yeah, they're trying to get rid of them. They've been trying to get rid of them forever, but that's my story.
They're here. No, you're right. They're here. Not a lot of people know.
They're about 100 feet that way.
Exactly. They live out here.
All right. So now to transition to the news a little bit, we do tend to get into the news on this show. I was seeing people were saying that they did a bullshit chant at the last Trump rally, which got me really excited. That sounded like it was a lot of fun, but I couldn't find it. I tried to watch a little bit of the video, and I gotta say, one of the most annoying things with YouTube right now is anytime you're looking for original source material, like the first 4 things will be, you get MSNBC, then you get some fat chick talking in her apartment doing commentary.
The Young Turks.
Yeah, exactly.
Label their videos as if it's that video.
Yeah,
It's
but
the
you
worst.
never get the original source material, so I couldn't find him doing the. I saw him calling the inquiry bullshit, but I caught the epic Trump slip that I haven't heard anyone else comment on the news yet, which is I sent you the link of the full rally. If you go to 11 minutes and 52 seconds, you're not in your email, so you're not going to see it there.
What email? What email?
I don't know. Check the inbox.
Yeah, go. All right, I guess it's on me. It's not there. Let me resend it.
You rescind that statement.
Yeah, I resended it. It was.
You just like housed him down, tried to bring him down to tech 6, and he's over here like, what the fuck? Oh wait, he's got it. No,
There you go.
he's down. Justified.
11:52. First one right there.
Thanks, Mike.
You're welcome. Love you, Tech.
Hell yeah.
Well, actually, before
You see how he threw the hat out?
before we get into this,
Like Odd Job from fucking.
you've worked some
Evil
sales jobs,
villain.
right?
Yeah, I've done
In
a ton
disguise?
of sales stuff.
All right, what sales gigs have you done?
So I've done obviously financial sales.
Okay.
And what I do now, I used to work at a car rental company where I had to sell people when they came in on car insurance, that kind of bullshit. And then my
Right.
first sales job was door-to-door water softeners.
That sounds terrible.
Oh man,
That's a real thing, though. People really need that. We had to get it at our
Yeah.
apartment in Waterbury.
Yeah.
Okay.
Water,
Fucks
no,
up your hair.
water softener is a great product.
A lot
if you
of
live
hard
in an
water
area.
around
But
here.
it's a tough sell because it's a big ticket item.
Right.
It's a couple $1,000s for like a decent one.
Yeah.
And you know, people, it's not like on people's minds. So you got to be like, hey, have you ever noticed that your water sucks dick? And they're like, no.
Or the water,
Notice your water's too hard.
or like when
Yo,
the
my
water,
water's hard as fuck, dog.
when you put the water on hot as fuck and it comes out white.
Yep.
Yep.
That's hard water.
That's hard
Oh, that's
water.
hard water?
That's hard
it's
water.
lime deposit.
Oh, or if it starts off white and then it goes to clear, that's hard
he's like,
water.
That might be
I
just
got hard
something wrong with your
water.
I got
pipes.
hard
Yeah, man, you might want to get
water.
that checked out, dude.
And there's little
It's
mermaids and
lime.
That's what
candles.
happens to my hair.
But so I would book these. I would go to
that's-
Home Depot and I'd be one of those dudes with like the Home Depot stands, and I'd be like, "Hey man, I'm glad you're looking for light bulbs today, but have you ever thought about your fucking water?" So then I'd book an appointment. I'd go to their house.
I'm just
and
a gay water salesman.
So
I'm just here to tell you about how hard your water is.
I'd go to people's houses and I'd like set up this kit and we do like an ice cube test, and then we do like a test with some fucking rags, and I'd be like, oh my god, look at how hard your water is, homie. I don't even know how you fucking live in this. And then I'd try, and then I'd be like, listen, if you want to survive, this is gonna change your life. And honestly, it does. Like you can say, because you've lived in hard and soft water, like you know that.
No, real shit. You've been there. You live that hard water life.
I'm joking about it, but it's a fucking life changer, man. The only downside is if you have high cholesterol, it does add salt to your water and it might kill you.
Well, it definitely makes your hair fall out for sure.
Yeah.
That's what happens to me. It's that hard water.
Dope.
I have great genetics.
Is your water too hard for you?
I used to sell
He goes,
mobile
I have
apps.
great genetics.
You sell
I used to
mobile?
sell mobile apps to businesses. I had to call up and be like, yo, you need to be able to reach your customers better. And it's like a mobile app.
I got a
And,
piece so bad. You guys just like
Customized for them.
it's literally just like their mobile website.
Oh, you guys are
It was
gonna
like a
cross
ripoff.
swords.
You would convert it for them though, like
yeah,
for their
yeah,
specific.
we would do all that. Be like, we got a whole team here to take care of you. And it's just like felt so good to take money from business owners. You know, it's like these guys are so
Did
rich.
they just
it's
go
like,
piss together?
Yeah, they
Get
did.
a hold
Yeah.
his dick.
I
He goes,
did when I was
bathroom break, girls.
when I was in high school. I sold those like discount cards for my football team. You guys
Oh,
what
I
I'm
know what you're talking about. I know what
Yeah,
you're
oh,
talking
yeah.
I
about.
set the state record for selling these things 2 years in a row. I broke it my second year, and I was like, I'm pretty much the best. And now looking back, I'm like, what a fucking loser.
Did you get a lot,
I was like, I was just the worst. But I'm a salesman to the bone. I love it.
did
So
you
at
get
the
a lot
time, I was
of?
like, I'm
Did you get a lot of playing time out of that?
no,
No?
not even a little bit.
They let you
coach,
start?
He just lined their pockets. Yeah, he just lined the pockets of big school.
So we go big school. Going back to my underage drug use, so I got busted. Obviously,
Cutting up
Story
coke with
earlier.
one of the gift cards.
and I got suspended for a season, right? So I was like, oh fuck, I don't want to miss football season. So I signed up for track so I could serve my suspension during track season, and I got my suspension done with, and then I got
That's
busted
smart.
doing drugs again, so I had to
That
miss
sucks.
football season anyway.
That's hilarious.
Just
Maybe football wasn't your thing.
could not keep myself out of trouble, man. It was what a disaster. But yeah, it was a great discount card salesman.
There you go.
This is actually a job interview for me. I'm gonna try
Yeah.
to be selling ads for
Afterward.
you guys afterwards.
Did you ever tell them? it was
Well,
more
we're trying to
money?
do discount cards actually. So
If you want to pull that back up.
All right. So I'm just hopping right to where I was in the conversation.
all right, cool. Yeah.
I've taken sales calls, and I would say after 4 or 5 good pitches in a day, I'm exhausted. It is not that easy.
Do you stand?
What? I like, yeah, you
Nice
gotta,
stand.
motion creates emotion.
Yeah.
I live by that one. You gotta, yeah, like I said, motion creates emotion. Anyways.
Do you ever put the mirror on your desk so you can
Never.
see your face? Oh.
Oh, I would never.
That's
Are
definitely
you
you
kidding
know,
me?
Robbie.
That would not work for me. That would make me instant depressed. Are you kidding
Just
me?
bums himself out. By the end of the call, he goes, "You know what? I wouldn't buy from me either."
he's like putting on the lines under his eyes like a linebacker. 80% intimidation.
When I used to work in radio, we would have like stock pictures up on the wall of people that looked looked like the demographic that we were trying to talk to, and we would talk to like 30-year-old moms. Like that was our demographic. We just talked to the pictures on the wall. Which, if you were not in that world, that'd be the creepiest fucking thing to walk in on.
Yeah.
Just a couple grown men talking to pictures on, like, we were eyeballs cut out of the pictures short from being arrested.
That
for
also
shooting.
sounds like that was a terrible marketer's idea for how you should do the show. So I feel like part of podcasting, which is fun, is like, I forgot that there are mics here. We're just fucking hanging out being retarded, and people get to almost eavesdrop in on that.
Totally different in
Very
radio,
different.
and like
Yeah.
in corporate radio,
Thanks,
though,
dude.
right? Like this was, I worked for both Clear Channel and
Those were
Cumulus over my years in radio,
Missed
and
the
it was,
pillow.
it's so corporate. You're talking in like maybe a minute-long clip tops, right? If you're doing like regular drive time, you're just talking in like 20-second clips. So it's very, very different than the podcast world. And yeah, man, we'd creep out on pictures on the wall all day.
There you go. So what I was getting at is I've done it
Insane.
takes something out of you. It's performance. It gets a little bit exhausting, and that's what makes Trump's hour-long rally so impressive. That for an entire hour, he's just pulling it out of his fucking ass.
Yo, you seen he's on Sudafed, right?
That's meth.
Well, that's what,
Yo, that shit crazy.
That's
But
meth.
that
How old is he?
Oh, by the
73?
way, craziest person I've ever seen in an AA meeting.
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump.
all right. So
No one's ever been a better drunk than me.
he
Sudafed.
I haven't heard anyone else pick this up, but I'm telling you, he slipped up on this rally. So play the clip for us.
Let's go to Michigan. Let's go to Pennsylvania.
I'm
North
sorry, you got
Carolina,
the
South
time
Carolina.
skip was the
52.
Oh,
Check.
where am I?
Remember that shit with Howard
Check
Dean?
what? 5?
How many seconds was gone? There we go. We're going to China.
When I started this, I said, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do that. It didn't mean anything. It's just like another guy trying to...
No way.
That is the most honest thing anyone's ever said in the history of politics.
Oh my god.
I was another guy.
How did he say that?
I was just out there. I'm trying to get elected. Okay, I'm saying I'll get you this. I'll get you that.
It's like high school president. You're running for high school president. We're getting vending machines in every hallway.
Longer recess.
All the water.
Play it again, and let it go a little
When
longer.
I
'cause-
started this, I said, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do that. It didn't mean anything. It's just like another guy trying to get elected. They're all trying so hard, but it's tough. It's not easy. It's not, when a guy goes out and they want to get people, nobody shows. It's true. It's not easy. But when I started this, no,
Solid
yeah,
dial back.
That's normal. This is not normal. Do you think
So,
this is
so
normal?
pause it. That was an honest hiccup.
Yeah.
That was and I haven't heard any of the news stations pick up on that. That was an honest fuck up. He's working off the cuff, and he just said it because he was living in the moment. And right away, he's like, "I wasn't supposed to say that." And then he brings it back to the Dems. But
And now he's crowd working.
yeah,
He's like, no, chill, chill.
Like 15 seconds of nothing.
Yeah, he's like,
This is
chill. No,
definitely-
this
No,
is
that's
made by the
normal.
Russians.
deep fake.
what that right there.
He's the big J of the election trail. Nothing but crowd work.
The other thing that happened, which was just really insane with Trump this week, and they do it every year, and it's the next link. If you go a little further down, they do the turkey pardon. Which, have you guys ever watched a turkey pardon before?
Dude,
No.
shout out to Thanksgiving, right?
What? Shout out to Thanksgiving. It is the Thanksgiving extravaganza. That's why we're back in the shed doing it big.
Oh.
No, that's the wrong video. It's the AP News.
AP News, dude.
where it
AP
says-
News. I just saw it.
Look at my notes where it says AP News. There you go. There's a video somewhere in there. Okay.
That
Have you,
Mitt?
you guys have never seen? That's like every year the president will. Let me set it up a little bit. Okay. Every year, the president, as kind of a goof, will pardon the turkey. You guys have never heard of this before?
I'm aware
Yes,
of this.
Now I do. Now I know what you're
Okay.
And some-
What about you?
The
No,
turkey.
I've heard of it. I've never watched it.
Me neither.
So it
Never
goes down
watched it.
every year, and it's I mean, it's weird that the president every year partakes in this thing, I guess, just as a joke. And then it's also weird, like, I feel like if aliens watch that, that's some sick shit, where it's like, we know that eating animals is wrong. I eat animals. I'm not going to stop eating animals. But, like, we know that it's wrong. You know what I mean? Like, this almost plays into that we shouldn't be doing that, yeah, go for it.
I would, if I was the president, I would pardon the turkey and then still fucking kill it and eat it.
Well,
Yeah.
that's
Illegally, at that
I mean, it
point,
definitely gets
fuck it,
killed
yeah.
anyway, right?
That's what I'm wondering. Where the fuck is there? Like,
Where's this turkey
is there
lawyer?
a museum of like turkeys that were pardoned that are
But-
just living a good
Are
life?
they, they're living
What did he
lavish
do
now.
to
They
get
were
pardoned?
Is there
pardoned.
no president? Wait, is there no president that didn't pardon it?
Didn't,
Not as far as I
thought Trump was like, I'm not gonna do it.
Well, George Washington.
He was like, nah, fuck it, we eating this turkey.
Straight up though.
It's
not wrong. It's not wrong to eat
Yo, that
animals.
turkey looks a little too delicious. We're not letting that one off the hook. I'm pardoning
I
another
mean, before
turkey.
the presidency, they just ate Indians.
Did you know that Ben Franklin wanted the turkey to be the national bird over the bald eagle?
Yeah.
I've heard. I've heard such
I'm gonna drop some knowledge.
I've heard such
Yeah,
rumors.
we all fucking know that, man.
Dude, you know a fucking 22 caliber
thing.
pellet gun won't do shit to a fucking turkey unless you shoot it in the head or the
Let me
neck.
tell you.
Because it's the feathers, man.
Yeah, it's like fucking.
All right,
Leather?
let's. We don't have to watch too much of this,
Like
but let's watch a
chainmail.
little bit of
Yeah.
Trump pardoning the turkey.
Birds butter. I will issue a pardon.
I can't believe it's not
Very
butter.
handsome birds butter, and his alternate bread. Thankfully, bread and butter have been specially
It's
raised
gluten-free,
by the
it's
Jacksons
alternate
to
bread.
remain calm under any condition, which will be very important because they've already received subpoenas to appear in Adam Schiff's basement on Thursday.
Wow.
It's true.
It's true.
He pronounces the S in Thursday. Thursday?
Yeah, I'm up
He's the
Thursday.
president of the
Thursday.
United
Like that's
States.
the weirdest thing about the way he talks.
Didn't he make up a name for that guy already? Like Shifty Shift or something?
I'm sure.
Hundreds of people have. It seems the Democrats are accusing me of being too soft on turkey. But bread and butter, I should note that unlike previous witnesses, you and I have actually met. It's very unusual.
It's better than any cartoon.
Oh my god. It is a cartoon.
He's so fucking
It's
proud
not
of
bad
himself.
stand up.
And I expect this pardon will be a very popular one with the media. After all, turkeys are closely related to vultures. I don't know if I like that line, but there is a little truth to it. So now we reach the moment bread and butter have
That turkey even looks like it's self-aware. Like, do I have to be included in this?
presidential
Can you
pardons.
kill me like the other turkeys?
Melania and I wish all Americans a very happy and blessed Thanksgiving. We love you all.
That came off a little weird.
Butter, let's talk to you for a second, because I'm going to do
All right, that's
something
enough of
that
this.
you're gonna
Get him a
Melania
mic.
and I.
What does he do?
Melania
They're
and
gonna
I
give him a
wish all
microphone.
Americans-
Pardons the turkey.
And he look how proud he is. He's gonna. I'm gonna do something that you're gonna remember for the rest of your turkey life. It's like,
All right.
It definitely gets eaten though, right?
No, it goes to a
no,
farm
you see
and
how
lives
beautiful that
forever,
turkey
dude.
is?
Turkeys fuck.
Let's go into some kind of
Bread and
petting
butter.
zoo or something.
He literally fired his speechwriter after that, right?
He goes, I didn't like that line.
the
He
first-
just
the
said
first-
that.
The first two jokes killed for a president. They killed, and he was like, "This guy's great. I'm gonna keep him around." And he's like, "Turkeys are related to vultures." Who fucking wrote that?
I
breaks
didn't really like
breaks the
that.
fourth wall. And
All right. So I want to turn this this festival that we're having here boring for a second, because as we
Nice.
as we cover things that no one else is covering, such as that footage that you just saw here, no one else picked up on that. I want to talk about the Repo Markets. Before I do that, Joseph Roberts, when I say the Repo Markets, what does that bring to mind? What do you think I'm even talking
I
about?
feel like a guy that comes and like takes your car, right? He just shows up and he's like, "Yeah, you didn't pay your bills, Jack." This, hey,
Have you ever heard of QED?
the open.
No, I'm
place
sorry,
they do
not
open mics
QED.
in
I'm
New York
sorry.
City?
Quantitative easing. Have you ever heard of that? Like they did QE1. What they do? They got up to 3, right?
Is that like where you go from one dimension to another?
Yep,
Yeah,
spot on.
There you go.
Wow.
That's why they brought me out.
Never
Just to
heard of
confirm
this.
that.
like quantum leap.
I had a
nailed
friend
it.
that worked for a rent center.
Okay.
They used to repo people's
he's in another dimension.
furniture out of their house because they couldn't pay. And that's what I thought you were talking about.
All right. So here's what's crazy. I'm gonna blow your dicks off right here.
Whoa, you better back up.
All right. So you go to a bank, you put $100 in the bank. You show up the next day, they don't have your $100. No, they maybe have 10 of it. They lend out the rest. That's what they call fractional reserve banking. You correct me when I'm wrong. I've been doing mushrooms all night. The second I get something wrong, you just stop me, right?
Yep.
So banks, they got to have reserves. Reserve levels are probably, what, 5 or 10%?
Yeah, so that's set. It's how technical you want me to get here. That's set by it's called the Basel.
But
anyways.
let's just go.
Basil.
Let's just go to keep it simple. Let's say bank reserves are 10%. Let's just say that. Okay, so that means that a bank can lend out basically 10 times the amount of money that actually. No, it's more than that. How much can they lend? Like if I put $100 into a bank, they can lend out 90 of it, and they just have to keep 10 of it.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So now once you understand that means like so you get a bank, and let's just say that they have $10 billion. So how much does that mean they have to actually have cash on hand?
So if it was 10%, it'd be $1 billion.
All right. Simple math.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm glad I'm contributing. This is
Okay. So here's the crazy part. So you already have that they only need to keep, 1/10 of what they're claiming they have there on hand. But they don't even need to do that because they use this thing called the repo market, where it's at the end of the day, they're not at what the reserve levels are supposed to be. Another person will say, all right, listen, I'll hand you the cash you need to hit your reserve levels, and then tomorrow you can just hand it back to me. Because basically, the levels get checked, let's say, at the end of every day or whenever the fucking deadline is. So people start running up against the deadline, and they go, holy shit, I don't have enough for my reserve levels. So some other bank goes, okay, I'll give you this money so that you hit your reserve levels before they check, and then you hand it back to me. That's basically what a repurchase agreement is, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's a collateralized overnight loan.
There's no interest on it.
There is
No, there is. You got to pay them interest.
Yeah, what the fuck? Yeah.
But
So the collateral.
But like, take a car, for example. Let's say you had to get a car inspection and your car didn't have wheels. So someone put the 4 wheels on it, so you pass the inspection, and then the next morning they take it off. It's kind of, I mean, it's not
No, it's
quite
perfect.
that,
Yeah,
but that's basically what's going on. You don't actually have the
wheels.
amount of money that you need to be a solvent bank. But people give you the money at closing time so that you have it when they actually check the books, and then by morning you hand it back to them, and you got to pay them some interest for that. So you can tell us some more of the technicals there.
Yeah, so that's actually spot on. The collateral that they lend against overnight are treasuries, usually. Before the financial crisis, they were able to use mortgage-backed securities.
Right.
We all know.
But then we realized those were garbage,
Yeah,
so that's
we
not
all-
actually 100% type item. The point is you're supposed to be able to give someone collateral that was 100% this has value.
Right.
And so if something it turned out that those had no value.
Yeah. So now people do it with, or institutions do it with T-bills, treasury notes. So either T-bills or T-notes. So they'll hand it off to another institution overnight, take the money, pay it back, plus an extra penny. Right now the rate's at like 1.5%. So they'll pay. That's annualized. Obviously, it's not 1.5% per night. That would be crazy. So they hand it back. They trade back in the morning. The repurchase agreement. That's what repo stands for. They have it overnight. They have 30-day repos, but I think
Most of them are overnights.
Yeah, the vast majority is overnight.
Which is almost an entirely fictional transaction. I go, hey, it's closing time. You need to hit your reserve. Here's the money. Give it back to me in the morning.
Yeah, so the reason that they do that, like you said, is so that they can hit their numbers, so they can maintain compliance with their capital reserves. But they also do it because it's a way to add leverage to your balance sheet to borrow more money without it showing up on your financial statements, right? So when you look at a financial statement and you're calculating somebody's debt to equity or debt to asset or coverage ratios, any type of ratio that requires you to look at how much debt they have, repurchase, along with some other types that I can talk about, but repurchase agreements, repos, are a type of debt that doesn't show up on that audited financial statement. So you're able to add leverage to your balance sheet. You're able to hopefully drive returns without that showing up.
So here's the craziest part about that. So when you already understand that a bank only has 10% of the cash that it is out of hand, and then it doesn't even have that because something like a repurchase agreement, it doesn't have to show. Okay, but now here's the even bigger picture that gets crazy. Amongst all of the banks, there wasn't enough of that, not like the repurchase agreement money to send around. So forget that there wasn't enough liquidity in the system to represent all of the money that we think we've put into banks. They don't even have enough money to be hitting the 5 or the 10% bank standard amongst each other. And it's not even like they need to have all that money on hand. They just need to have enough of it between each other that they can lend it to each other at closing time. And now if you start to understand the way financial markets work, that most of the money in existence is not hard cash, it's actually derivative products. If you look at basically the like amount of money that exists in the world, like if we look at all the money that exists in the world, but how much of it is tied to a derivative product, which the most simple would be like a call or a put option, essentially.
Yep.
Really a call option, because that would create. All right, we're already getting too complicated. The point is, if there's a liquidity crisis amongst the little bit of money that banks have to lend to each other just so that they can close their books at the end of the day, there must be some real systematic issue here. And here's where it gets scarier. The Fed itself doesn't want to say, hey, we're engaging in quantitative easing, because then the public goes, well, that's essentially, there's a bank bailout. All of a sudden, you're just fucking bailing out the banks again. So they made up this lie where they said, hey, there's bad plumbing. The Fed just needs to come in, and we got to take care of the bad plumbing issue here. And so we're going to add some liquidity to the markets. But the fact that the Fed can just hand a shit ton of money to the banks without voters, without Congress, without anything, they don't even label it anything now. They just go, oh, we got to add liquidity like it's nothing. All right, I've ranted. Go for it.
No. I think your outrage is well placed here. I mean, this is the biggest financial story since the financial crisis.
And no one's fucking covering it. It's like a little blimp in the newspaper.
Scarfunkel's about to right now.
Oh, it's infuriating.
Nobody, like, by the way, I somewhat understand, and when I say somewhat, I really mean somewhat understand finance, and I can't quite wrap my head around this completely. Most of the time I try and read an article, it's completely boring, and when I try and find more information, it's limited. But then I'll just say, and then one more crazy thing. I was in college when the last financial crisis happened. I was actually working at a hedge fund, and I remember that incident it started off, hey, there's a Bear Stearns hedge fund that's going under because of what they did with subprime mortgages. And no one thought it was going to become a systematic issue. And then within 3 months, all of Bear Stearns was gone, and then you would have had, I feel like this is going to be a bigger story that like is just kind of slightly going unnoticed at the moment.
Yeah, so this is a huge deal. So I want to go back to fractional reserve banking for a second, and then I'll talk a little bit more about repos. So fractional reserve banking, I know a lot of big-time anarcho-libertarians hate fractional reserve banking. I actually think it's not a bad practice.
But okay.
Yeah, what I don't like is the government mandating what that reserve has to be, because the fact is we don't know what the safe reserve is, right? But I can tell you,
with that
if the government says that everybody has to have 4%, everybody's going to have 4%. Maybe the safe number is 10%. Maybe the safe number is 20%, but maybe the safe number is 1%. Like, we don't actually know. But if the government mandates a number, every single company is going to hit that number, right? So that's the problem here, right? Is maybe some of these institutions, some of these hedge funds, some of these broker dealers, some of these big banks would hold more reserves. But if the government says, if you only hold 4%, you're safe, and we're going to cover you, we're going to take care of you, why would they be incentivized to be safer? Why would they be incentivized to hold more than whatever that is? So I think in the free market, if it was totally free and unencumbered, I think fractional reserve banking would still exist, because it is an engine for growth. It does provide availability for banks to lend out and make capital available for businesses to grow, but I'm not convinced that the number would be 4%. I'm convinced that the number would be higher.
I just wish that happened for me. I wish they'd be like, hey, rent's due. I need to meet my numbers. You know what I'm saying?
Fractionally.
Fractional rents.
I had a question though about that. So when they're lending the other banks the money, is it all electronically?
Yeah. There's very little like cash that changes.
So they don't
hands.
even actually have to have the cash. They're just having like the
But
credit.
that's what I'm saying, when you understand.
Yeah, it's the number. It's just numbers on a computer.
In the
And they're just
fictional world
transferring,
of passing back and forth derivatives, which are not. It's not hard money. It's like these contracts against real money. You realize how much little money is actually existing in the system.
Where is
and how big
all
of a
that real
problem
money?
There might really be. I'm sorry, I cut you off on your
Right?
Oh, no, it's perfect. No, that's
You
what
doing
I'm saying.
that? Where
like
you
that's what
doing
I'm saying.
all
They
that-
don't even have to have the actual money. They're
Yeah,
just
Baker,
saying.
man, where the fuck's our money? We're gonna make this whole thing up. We're gonna fucking sacrifice you, okay? We're taking mushrooms because it's Thanksgiving. You fucking robbed the country, the pilgrims.
So listen,
The fact that we just went from like the most interesting person at your drug meeting to like fractional reserve banking in like a matter of 30 minutes.
That's
is
what your
No, leave
mouth
it
is
open,
all
leave it
about.
open.
This
But it is crazy
That's the
because
shit.
where is that money? Can you I want to see a picture of it. It's like the gold in Fort Knox.
there's no gold in Fort Knox. That's my other conspiracy
For
theory.
sure not.
There is
The
no
wall.
gold in
not.
Fort
It's
Knox.
lying
I
about
just-
that
So what I'm
forever.
even saying is that the bigger bank is just known to have more money, so they can just be like, "Oh, we're just gonna give you a couple numbers electronically, look like you have what you don't,"
And then
they're not even transferring actual things. They're just saying, "Here, take a couple of our numbers that mean nothing," because all our money is loaned out to who knows what, you know.
Oh,
But I'm just saying. I
you
mean,
didn't want to go. Where is it?
I don't know where it is.
Who
In
knows?
Saudi Arabia. with
I
all
mean,
the oil
everything is
but-
electronically transferred. Like, right? If you buy a stock, let's say you buy one share of Microsoft, like, chances are you're not getting a paper certificate, right? Like, if you move your money then from, I don't know, E-Trade to Schwab or to, TD or something like that, like, everything's electronic. So I'm not as much worried about the fact that it's all electronically transferred. What I am worried about is that, the Fed told us that they were pumping money into the repo markets because, quarterly corporate taxes came due on the same day as, settlement date for some other derivatives, and everybody needed cash, and they didn't have it. Okay, maybe I would buy that if calendars didn't fucking exist, but I can tell you my calendar at work is booked out for probably the next 8-9 months on, like, important events, right? Minimum. So you're telling me that these corporate treasurers don't know that corporate taxes are due and are not able to plan efficiently for that? Like, that's completely ridiculous. And if that was the case, after those dates had passed, that liquidity should become available again. But it's not. So yeah, we're a couple weeks removed. We're a couple $100 billion into this already. This is a huge deal that nobody's talking about.
Relative to like QE1, I mean, I think we already spent as much money. I don't know. I'm asking. I don't know what like the total dollar amount was, because back then when the Fed was buying up bonds, they were like, "What the fuck is going on here?"
Yeah. So the Q. I mean, I don't remember the numbers exactly, so I don't want to.
But this is a large number. It's
I mean,
not
listen, a couple $100 billion, even in the scope of the financial market, is not chump change, right? So yeah, it's a huge number. The other thing is, there's nobody voting on this, right? At least with QE, even if you hated it, and I did, and I think probably a lot of the listening audience probably hates QE too. At least they voted on it, right? Like that.
Shedcast.
I didn't vote on anything.
But I mean, it went through Congress, which again still is kind of baloney, but it happened. So yeah, I have a huge problem with that. The other problem is, do you want to talk a little bit about LIBOR and SOFR?
Fuck yeah. I do.
So LIBOR right now, for anybody that doesn't know what LIBOR is the London Interbank Offer Rate.
Yeah,
it is pimp code Jose over here.
College education right here.
Robo.
No, I'm all right.
So LIBOR has been described accurately as the most important number in the world. It's what almost every loan on the planet is based off LIBOR somehow, right? So your mortgage, if you have a mortgage, is probably partially based. It's probably based off LIBOR.
Right. If the LIBOR rate is at 10%, you're not getting a mortgage for less than 12%. Or
right.
Whatever yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot lower than that now, obviously.
No, I get it. I'm just.
But
Obviously.
Well, I mean, you're right. I said obviously like a
Obviously.
Yeah. All right. My bad. Sorry, that was very snobbish of me. But so. What's happening? LIBOR's sunsetting 2021. They're going to switch to SOFR.
Sunsetting mean like
it's going away.
Going away.
Yeah.
Right.
So LIBOR's going away, and all those loans are going to be switched over to SOFR, which is the secured overnight funds rate. So the repo market rate.
Okay.
The problem, everybody wanted to get rid of LIBOR because there was manipulation of the LIBOR.
Can I just stop for a second? What are you guys cracking up about? I went in on the joke.
Because I didn't know, actually. I was happy you asked the question. But then when the answer was so obvious, I was like, yeah, obviously.
We all did this.
The sun setting.
I'm laughing because it's like, yeah, I know what that means. Now, what the fuck else are you talking about?
Okay.
So
So talking about SOBOR, which I've never heard of. This is all new to me.
SOFR, S-O-F-R.
SOFR, yeah.
They're getting rid of LIBOR and switching to SOFR. The reason they're getting rid of LIBOR is because a bunch of, as the media describes them, rogue traders were manipulating LIBOR.
Right.
The way that LIBOR is calculated is all the member banks, which is all the big banks you can think of, send to this committee what they think they could the rate that they think that they could borrow money at. Not the rate that they were actually able to borrow money at. The rate that
think they might be able to get. Yeah.
So anybody with half a brain can think like, oh, that's easily
It's like if you
manipulatable,
ask
right?
me, hey, I'm gonna go out and fuck some chicks. Who do you think you can pick up? And I'm like,
Obviously.
a fucking 9.
Yeah,
That's how hot
I
I
like
am.
that his fantasy is not even a 10. Like his fantasy is like that's still just a 9. So obviously this is like a very manipulatable number. But the way that this is set is they get rid of any outliers right away. So if you're like, I could borrow money at -9%, right? Like they're going to get rid of the outliers right away, and then they're going to find a number that's pretty much the standard across the industry. So it is manipulatable. People were manipulating it, but we're not talking about massive market manipulation. We're talking about a couple bips, a couple basis points, which in the scope of a $1 trillion swap portfolio is going to be a ton of money, a ton of profit, and you are stealing from people. So I'm not trying to defend manipulation, but
That's good.
In the scope of like your mortgage or your adjustable rate loan or your credit card, it's not changing your life. You're not affected by that level of manipulation, right?
But small over a big picture.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't want to sound like,
yeah.
but the reason that I'm saying that, right? So that's why they're getting rid of LIBOR. So I'm building up to SOFR.
Give me a cut. That's all I say. I'll keep my mouth shut. You just give me a cut.
God, if I could figure out how to get a cut, I would not be in this fucking show.
Neither would we. Actually, yeah, we still would be.
Maybe, yeah, probably.
So
My own damn shed.
We just built a second floor.
Yeah.
we'd still be in the same shed, just be a little bit nicer. Throw up some drywall,
3-story
maybe.
shed.
Hell yeah.
With a doomsday bunker underneath.
Doomsday
Now you're
shed.
fucking talking. Now, see,
All right,
now
I'm
you're
trying to learn
talking
about the fucking. I don't
you're
even
talking-
remember what it was called. The Silbor.
the whole
The Sabra
container.
salads.
It's
Yeah.
sulfur.
The sulfur.
That's right.
Tell me about these farts in the market.
So we're switching.
ahead.
We're switching to sulfur, and
Market
boy,
flush.
does it smell fun.
Yes, it does.
So they're switching to SOFR because LIBOR was corruptible.
So far sounds like it's more from the Jews, so I don't like that one.
All right.
I mean, like LIBOR, that doesn't sound Jewish at all. Sulfur? That's like
Yeah, I'm down. I'm with it. Fuck them.
This is turning into a rally real quick. This is not what I signed up for. I am too circumcised for that conversation. So
Yeah, I'm a little too circumcised myself.
I don't even look like a neo-Nazi.
So anyways, they switched to SOFR because LIBOR was corruptible. But the problem is SOFR is based off the rate on these overnight repos, which is what we were just talking about.
Oh, and then the governments can easily manipulate
The reason
that,
that government has been pumping money into these overnight repos
because that
is
rate
because
affects
rate
the overall
spiked-
interest rate.
Well, rate spiked to like 5 or 10%, and that's why they started pumping money in because
can I-
that 5 or 10%. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm picking up the picture in my head, and this is fascinating.
It took me a long time to get to it, so I apologize for anybody who's not listening at double speed.
The government needs to borrow money at a low interest rate, and they need to manipulate the market in order to kind of keep the whole system alive. It's a Ponzi scheme, and so they need to continually be able to sell their debt at a low interest rate.
Yes, but that's not SOFR doesn't affect that.
No, it would, because if the LIBOR rate went up to 10%, you think the government could still sell their debt at 1 or 2%? Like they're tied in that it's like they're still have to be relative to every other government. So if the LIBOR rate exists off of what the interlending bank repo rate is, it's advantageous to the Fed to be able to keep that rate low so that no other interest rates in the entire world go up. It's another way of just adjusting it, like manipulating overall interest
Shifting
rates.
the Overton window on that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, just quick syntax
Sorry, I'm
correction.
sure that's over. Like I'm on fucking mushrooms.
No.
I just pushed together like 9 things. in my-
You're like, these are a bunch of words I just heard you say. But
Put some marker
To
down.
observe that.
But LIBOR wasn't based on repos, so I just want to correct
so then I
that.
totally made up what I just said. What I said was-
No, but
I thought that's what you were saying. was one of
it
the
is
prices.
it is believable, right?
Yeah.
So the Fed won't set its treasury rates based on SOFR. They did not set them based on LIBOR. But you are right in that they set them kind of similarly to other countries' sovereign debt, because you wouldn't want to be the one guy offering 1% in a room full of countries that are offering 3%. Right? And vice versa. You wouldn't want to be offering 3% in a room full of countries that are offering 1%.
Why not?
So they're running on their own rules. They're like, we're not gonna run their rules, but
You're
we're
not
gonna
as
come in
competitive.
and kind of do our own
Or you're
thing.
more competitive.
But that's right. Think of it as an investor, right? Would you want to buy a bond that pays you 1% or 3%?
Like
you
I
would
said,
want.
They're not as
I want the-
competitive.
I want
That's
the
When
what
he
good
I'm
said
saying.
you wouldn't
3%,
want to, what he meant is no one's going to buy it.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
It's just market,
Just
right?
give me gold, baby. Gold always going up.
Gold is not always going up, but I like where your head is at. If one of my clients was like, "Hey man, can you just buy me a shitload of gold?" I'd be like, why don't you come in for a conversation? Like, I don't know about all that.
bro,
I'm gonna do it for you. I just don't want it on my recorded line. But the problem with this SOFR, right? So because before the government was getting involved in the SOFR markets, right, or in the overnight repo markets, that rate was a market rate. It would adjust based on supply and demand. When there's very little supply, that rate jumps up to 5-10%, which is what we saw happening. Fed jumps in. Now they're keeping that rate artificially low at like 1.5%. And that is just another way for them to manipulate interest rates. So while
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, exactly. So while you were spot on. You were spot on.
Nice.
So while there was problems with LIBOR manipulation, they were relatively small and done by private actors. With SOFR, it is on a governmental scale, the manipulation done at will by the Fed with no oversight other than by the Fed.
By
Fuck
themselves.
yeah. So fuck the Fed and fuck the fucking repo markets.
yeah.
And now, before we call it a show,
Dude,
And the
isn't
Fed.
SOFR fucking Chris D'Elia's character in fucking Workaholics?
Maybe.
I've been seeing that Chris D'Elia video
No,
playing in the
I don't
background, and I think his name's SOFR
Oh, really?
in
I
Workaholics.
was thinking of Ricky Sofer. All right. Anyways,
I was saying that the whole time.
Anyway, and the Fed. That's what we were saying.
my whole life I grew up. You could play it in the background while we intro it. Just Alice's restaurant.
Oh shit.
Oh, we're in this.
Yeah, we're
So that's why you're against SOFR?
That's why I'm against the switch to SOFR. Also,
switch
there's
to
some
it.
statistical measures
Yeah.
like the volatility of SOFR is like so much higher than LIBOR, which if you have a portfolio of adjustable rate
Wouldn't make
loans,
sense.
like you wouldn't want volatility in that.
All
So
right, just you can start playing it, and we'll.
Wow, it sure is great living in this abandoned church.
Techie, you know the best places to squat in.
Ever since they threw me out of the shed, I knew I'd turn it around. This place is amazing. I just wish Harrington was alive to see it.
Forget Harrington. This is about us now living in this church and never having to take out the garbage. That's the best part about living in this place. It's gigantic.
A dream come true. I always said if I ever got my own place, it would be big enough to stash all the garbage.
You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. Walk right in, it's around the back, just a half a mile from the railroad track. And you can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant.
All right, we turn it over to the Shedcast boys, sitting in their shed, inside the shed.
You know what I feel bad about? What we did to Techie.
I don't know. I think he had to go. It was his time to leave the shed, get his techie wings.
Yeah, but the shed is supposed to be a welcoming place, and when he was sleeping on the floor of the shed, it felt like at least we were giving back to the upper middle class white kids in Connecticut.
I have an idea. Why don't we help him get rid of his garbage? You know how we always kept his garbage around and then we would throw it out? I bet his new place is just covered in garbage.
That's a great idea.
So they went over to Techie's church.
Jesus Christ.
We're back at Techie's church.
Hey, Techie, open up.
Oh, sup, guys? You came to visit. I'm big stuff now. I've got my own place.
I know. We're going to help you take out the garbage.
So fucked up.
But I don't want to take out the garbage.
You're going to get eaten alive by rats.
There's no rats here. This is a church. The Lord's house. They know that this is a holy place meant for my garbage.
But look at it this way. If we clear out all his garbage, you can collect new garbage. It almost looks like you're out of place.
Well, will you guys help me find my garbage?
Of course.
All right.
That's not.
It's not the line.
That's fine. It's perfect. It was great.
That was how real life it was. Mike was just like, yeah, of course.
I would never say sure thing.
We've been friends for years,
we
dude. Of course I'd help you find your girl.
You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. Walk right in, it's around the back, just a half a mile from the railroad track. And you can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant.
So now we're outside of the dump.
I run the dump.
No, you're not the lady anymore. Now you're the dump man. This is as you. I run the dump.
I don't talk like that.
You talk however you want. You got.
I run the dump. We are not taking any garbage today.
But we have to get rid of it.
It is Thanksgiving. We don't take no garbage on Thanksgiving.
But where are we supposed to dump it?
Not at the dump. No dumping garbage at the dump when the dump is not open. That's why I am at the dump. That's why I'm guarding this place. To make sure no one comes and gets any big ideas and comes here while we are trying to get the dump out of here. It's all the dumps are gone.
Come on, man. Can you cut us a break? It is Thanksgiving.
No, the dump is closed. Nothing gets dumped. I don't care if you are a corpse, holy garbage from a church, or a stomach full of diarrhea. There's no dumping.
So the Shedcast boys left their dump, and they got back into their car to haul some garbage. We're back in the car.
What the hell are we gonna do with all this?
Yo, this is garbage.
Well, I could just take it back home.
No.
Well, what the fuck are we gonna do with all this garbage?
Look.
Damn, that's one hell of a clip.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Not my precious garbage.
So they threw all of his garbage off a cliff.
You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. Walk right in, it's around the back, just a half a mile from the railroad track. And you can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant.
All right, now they're back in the car.
Dude, I'm hungry.
Yeah, I've been smoking weed all day. Let's go to the diner and eat some turkey till we pass out.
Perfect. Harrington showed me this one diner where they all will let you sleep in the booths.
We have homes. We're not sleeping in the diner tonight. But let's eat that turkey.
I lost my place.
And so they ate that turkey
Went
and
home.
went home.
And then the next morning, a SWAT team burst into the church.
Whoa! It's the whole SWAT team. Have I been running drugs again?
Listen, bitch, you're going to the slammer unless you tell me honestly. Did you dump that garbage down the hill?
I guess that's it. You brought the whole SWAT team over for some garbage. I thought it was a bad idea to get rid of it too. I guess the Lord also came to you in a vision in your sleep and said that we need to return to the church.
Did you dump it down the hill?
Yes, and I'm ready to repent and retrieve the garbage.
Retrieve it? You're under arrest. You have the right to remain silent, and I have the right to eat what's left of your turkey sandwich. I know you have cuffs on, but hold the gravy. I'm gonna dip my sandwich in it, bitch.
No way. Me too.
Yo, a lot of deep research on that tech character because that was fucking spot on. No way.
And so Techie went to jail. His wife was real sad, but then someone told her if she went to the courthouse and posted bail, he could be released and they could go back to collecting garbage together. So she decided, why not bail out my husband? He's been in prison 2 weeks and we both probably blew some dudes and learned our lesson. Never take out your garbage.
You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. Walk right in, it's around the back, just a half a mile from the railroad track. And you can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant.